Welcome to Film School Friday. I'm Corey.
I'm Bill.
And together,
we form Voltron, defender of the universe.
We also host the In Focus podcast. Film School Friday is our special weekly episode where I get to quiz Bill to see how much knowledge he's retained from film school. Today, I have a topic that Bill is incredibly passionate about, and that is actually TV refresh rates.
Oh, boy. I would say that I am an activist against refresh rates on TV. and I know a lot of people that work in film, particularly DPs, would side with me on this.
All right, Tom Cruise.
And Tom Cruise.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So for context, a video of Tom Cruise came out a few years ago where he was advocating to turn off the refresh rate from your TV because it ruins the cinematic experience. And he explained it very well. I'm not going to explain it as well as he did because I don't have a teleprompter like he undoubtedly did. So basically, refresh rates on a TV, it's a new-ish thing. It's been on TV's standard for about 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And it's on most new model high-def TVs.
And these, for context, like we're talking when you see like these big advertising, like promotional things on a TV box, like 120 hertz, 240 hertz.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at that and they don't know what that means. They're just like, big numbers, that means it's high quality. Right. You know, that's what they think. What it is, refresh rate was created, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, to aid in cutting down on strobing for sporting events and things like that. So a lot of people, particularly in America, they like football. They watch a lot of that. When the camera pans in the sort of traditional television frame rate, there is a little what's called strobing where it kind of jitters a little bit.
Yep.
Refresh rate was designed to cut down on that and keep the image smooth as the camera pans across the football field or whatever it might be. Yes, that's great for sports.
And video games.
And video games, yeah. It's great for all of those things. What it was not designed for is movies. And basically anything that's shot at 24 frames a second, which is the standard rate of shooting speed for cinema, TV, what have you. And so what happens is refresh rate removes the through the gate 24 frames a second warm cinematic feel that most movies have. It inadvertently cuts that out and makes movies a little too smooth.
Yeah.
To the extent where it can turn a huge motion picture shot by Roger Deakins or whatever it might be into something that looks like it was shot at 30 frames a second for a soap opera.
Ooh.
They call it the soap opera look, the soap opera video look.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. It's real ugly. And it really messes up the look and feel of movies that were never intended to look that way.
You lose some of that kind of naturalistic motion blur as a part of that, right? And that's what
you do, yeah.
That's typically what many people associate this cinematic look with. Like there are many things that make something cinematic, lighting, all the production components that go into that. But one of the telltale signs is this naturalistic motion blur. Things look on screen as they would to the eye. And
right.
A big part of that is motion blur.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively what refresh rates do is higher refresh rates remove all of that motion blur.
Yeah.
And it looks, to your point, very not cinematic.
Yeah. And I've noticed there's segments of the population that don't even see the difference. And it's mostly folks that, as expected, don't work with cameras and in video and film. I've met a few people who don't work in film that can see the difference.
Yeah.
Very few. So it doesn't bother a lot of people, but it's so noticeable to me that I feel like the experience is being ruined. And I can't watch a movie that's got the refresh rate when the TV's refresh rate is turned on. In fact, I stayed at an Airbnb recently that had the refresh rate turned on, and I turned that sucker off, and I consider myself a savior. I'm doing people a favor that stay there from here on out. They're going to enjoy the cinematic experience. They're not even going to notice or know why, but I hooked them up.
Bill Cornelius, the cinematic savior.
Yes. And so, until they find a time or a technology, and I'm sure they probably will, where the TV's refresh rate can auto throttle, when it can say, this is a sporting event, I'm going to switch on. This is a movie, I'm going to switch off.
Yeah.
Until we get to that point, we're going to have a problem.
I wonder if that exists.
You'd think it would. It seems like a kind of technology that someone would be smart enough to add to a smart TV.
Yeah. I mean, it is a big enough of a deal that Tom Cruise produced a public service announcement about
He did.
Which we'll link to in the show notes because it's fantastic.
And as you can imagine, I shared that all over social media. I texted it to friends who did not understand the argument, and I was just that's the most thankful I've ever been to Tom Cruise. His advocacy for no refresh rate.
Turning off your high refresh rates, please.
Yes.
Well, I could tell you're very passionate about this.
Yes.
I am 99% positive every TV in my house does not have that, but I'm definitely going to go check now.
Does not have it turned on or have it present?
It doesn't have it turned on. I know it doesn't have it turned on. I don't even think the TVs I own have it as an option.
That's good. You're lucky.
But for all our listeners out there, you should check that out.
Yes, I'll add this too. I go to friends and family's homes and turn off the refresh rate if I notice it. I am that guy. I will come to your house and turn off your refresh rate.
I thought for sure you were just going to say that you only go there to turn off their high.
Yeah, I only see my parents to turn off their refresh rate.
I'm just here to check and make sure you're not ruining cinema.
Yeah. And now you're not. Okay, bye.
Good to see you.
I've done my service.
Yeah, nice. All right, Bill, as always, thank you.
You are welcome.
Especially for your passion this week.
Yes.
I'm confident you've influenced at least one other person.
I hope so.
To join you in your crusade.
And if you haven't joined yet, I will be at your house to turn it off for you.
Nice. All right. And for our listeners, you can check us out on Instagram at InFocusPod or online at InFocusPodcast.com. And if you like what you heard today, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. It would help us out a ton. And until next time,
feed your damn crew.
Yeah, feed them. But not pizza.
No, they'll fall asleep.